Welcome to the Startempire Wire Founders Podcast, where we make entrepreneurial founders a top priority. Each episode features risk takers, business builders, community shapers, institutional and government supporters in our local startup ecosystem. Tune in weekly to hear all about what's happening with the movers and the shakers of Southern California's Inland Empire and beyond. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Founders Podcast. Today, I am with Christiana Green, who is out in the Coachella Valley, and she's doing some epic things out there. She's actually running 6 businesses. Did you say that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 6 businesses at this moment, and we're gonna just dive into and focus in on a few of those. You'll hear about probably all of them because it's part of her story, but we're going to focus in on one of the primary ones, which is the farmers markets that she's running. So first off, tell us about who you are as a person, Christiana, and where did you grow up, and what led you to the place where you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I'm Christiana Green, and I grew up in Oklahoma. I ended up living with my grandmother, who ran a garden for the community, and she fed 7 single mother families for the entire time that I lived with her out of her garden. And she was a retired social worker. Okay. So the benefits of growing your own food and knowing where it came from came to me early. I grew up as a farmer's market brat my whole life. So from Oklahoma to Texas to California for the last 22 years, I've traveled every farmer's market I can ever get my hands on. And after being in a farmer's market as a vendor for 4 years, I knew that I could do things different and better. And so I started in January of 2021 with the Indian Wells Certified Farmer's Market.
Okay.
And now I have 5 total markets. So we have
5 markets.
Yeah. So we have Thursday, Indian Wells, Friday, Rancho Mirage, Saturday, Palm Desert, Sunday in downtown Indio, and Sunday, Old Town La Quinta. So I was just given a 10-year established market. After running the other ones so well, they handed me a established 10-year market. So it was
wow. So you were just like, they just gave it to you.
They gave it to me.
Wow.
And
That's
it was
great.
actually my dream market. It's where I started my business, Epic Health Company.
Yes.
And I started selling my treats and my CBD at the Old Town La Quinta market in 2018.
Okay.
And I can't believe that now that I have the opportunity to run the market. It's a blessing.
That's a dream. That's really big. That's huge. So when you were growing up, what was the spark that caused you to really move into entrepreneurship? What do you recall?
In 2016, first of all, I've been an equine nutritionist for 17 years, and I've worked in sales companies selling horse products to high-level competition riders and their horses. Yes. And I did that for many years, and I worked for men. And in 2016, I found out I was undiagnosed for years, but I had PTSD. And after that diagnosis, they tried to put me on pharmaceutical drugs, and I was unwilling to take them. I started making my own CBD products. After trying a couple, I started making and formulating my own based on my own background. I have a science degree. I started making products, and I ended up healing myself for about 2.5 years. And then after there's a typical gimmick in a sales job. If you get a sales position from 0 to 1.2 million in 2 years, they're going to fire you and hire someone to do it for half the price.
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
It's just an established known thing in the sales world. They're going to pay you so much money to get it to this point, and then they let you go. And so it happened to me twice, and it was like your blood, sweat, and tears and everything that you put into it. And once you hit that 1.2 million a year, they're going to let you go, and they're going to hire someone, because now all they have to do is maintain the account. So that was really overwhelming for me. And when I lost my job in 2018, I decided that would never happen again. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
decided I would never work for anyone again.
Yeah.
And I started my own company. And then I started loving the family unit of a farmer's market. And I thought, wow, I could
Ooh.
really do this. And
Ooh.
so now I have about 62 vendors a day, 5 farmers markets a week. So we're doing, I don't know, 145 markets in 8 months, and
Wow.
it's every day, and it's like Thursday through Sunday, and it's
So
amazing.
this is okay. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
And I
Sunday.
get to make the maps, and I don't have to ask anyone any questions, and I'm the boss, and I don't have to ask permission or
Wow. Yeah,
and
no,
I
that's huge.
and I take, instead of the whole mindset, most farmers markets run with the vendors work for you.
Okay.
I reverse
Okay.
the formula, and I work for the vendor.
How does that work? What are the technicalities of that?
It's just a different energy that I bring to the market that the vendors really seem to enjoy. What
Yes.
can I do for you? How can I make your day better? Would you like a
Mm.
different booth position? Would you like to face a different direction? I take
Yes.
all of the things that they want into account to make them happy, because if they're not happy, they're not going to be selling.
They're not going to be selling. So
And they're not going to be looking up from their phone, or whatever it
Right.
is. And we want to create a friendliest, world-class market you've ever been to.
yeah. So you're servant leadership, basically, to a degree, huh?
Sure, leadership, but we've reversed the formula where they now know that I work for them, and anything they ask for, I'm going to make it happen.
Yes. 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 That's awesome.
And that's why I have
I said servant leadership.
Servant, sure.
Servant
Yeah.
leadership. Yeah. So you're serving your vendors instead of having them serve you, right?
Right. It's a wrong formula to have it the other way.
Right.
I provide the stage and the platform, but that means that I'm working for them. People get it reversed in their head, and then they don't treat them well.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Okay.
All right. So when you first saw the opportunity to take over these farmers markets, where were you at? Like, where was your head at? Were you like super excited? I know you said this was your dream. Like, were you a little bit overwhelmed?
I had no idea how it was going to turn out. I was originally asked in May of 2020 during the pandemic to create a farmers market for the Desert International Horse Park, which is out in Thermal. And I'm an equine nutritionist, and I'd worked there for years. And so they knew me, but they also knew that I worked in farmers markets. And so they thought I would be the perfect person to create a farmers market for them.
Yes.
So I started that process. I got them a food truck court. I got them all kinds of vendors. And then we started planning the farmers market for the Thermal property, and it ended up going south. So all of a sudden, right before Christmas, November 19th of 2020, I had 42 vendors and no home. I ended up calling every city in the valley that didn't have a farmer's market. And I said to them, I have a farmer's market I need a home for. And the very first city that responded to me was Indian Wells. And they gave me a home there for the last 18 months.
Man, that's great. That's
So,
great.
and then that flourished into Rancho Mirage asking me to create a market. And then now I have one in Indio and Old Town La Quinta, and soon to be Saturday in Palm Desert.
In Palm Desert. So do a lot
That'll be 5 total.
That'll be 5 total. So are you trying to get one for every day of the week?
No, I am done. I'm done.
Okay.
I need Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday just to do paperwork.
So when it comes to paperwork, I know this is more of like the nitty gritty of the daily business. Like the processes that you're using and the paperwork that you're using, did you have to come up with those processes? Did you have to come up with the paperwork? How did you, from that technical side?
I had this amazing mentor that's no longer at Riverside County Health Department. His name was Enrique, and he taught me the process and the paperwork needed. And when I submitted my application in 2020, he told me it was the most perfect application he had ever seen in his life.
Wow.
He is no longer with the health department, but I have learned meticulously from him how to submit a good application and get it approved quickly.
Yes.
Like I said, I just did 4 applications. It was a total of 667 pages. And your typical scanner, like I'm pointing to a scanner right here, and it accepts like 40 pages at a time.
Oh,
and then like page 27 gets stuck and you have to start all over.
Oh no.
But it doesn't matter. We got it done. It's all in, and I'll be approved in the next couple days, and all they want is payment, of course.
Wow. And then, so that's five farmers markets total, right?
4 at the moment. Saturday Palm Desert is having a little bit of an issue with the contract. So currently I have Thursday Indian Wells, Friday Rancho Mirage, Sunday Downtown Indio, and Sunday Old Town La Quinta.
Okay. All right. The Inland Empire startup ecosystem industry is tremendously fragmented. A few top-tier hubs, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, are well covered by media, events, and data platforms. Finding reliable information relevant to startups or the tech industry in the Inland Empire is extremely difficult. As a result, startups can't scale fast enough. Investors are having a hard time finding the right deals, and corporates can't find the right companies to partner with for their innovation activities. Startempire Wire, the leading Inland Empire startup publication, is providing the Inland Empire startup ecosystem with the most accurate, engaging business and financial data, events, and news. Our reach of entrepreneurs, C-level executives, angels, VC investors, startup employees, key management at innovative corporates, and big tech is the solution for your B2B or B2C needs. As we build out our platform, we're looking for partners. This is your opportunity to get in on the ground level. If you're looking to align yourself with the local and growing startup and tech ecosystem of the Inland Empire, we have created the platform to get your name noticed and the opportunity for you to grow the recognition of your brand. Contact us today for availability and pricing options. We look forward to our partnership with you. Tell us about the growth of from when you started with the farmers markets to now. What growth have you seen? Where did they start? Where are they now?
Okay, so when I first started, we had 23 vendors. We now have 64 in Indian Wells. And many of those are vendors, men or women, more of them women, who had never been in a farmer's market vendor or set up their own canopy tent for a business ever in their life. And for example, one of my most popular vendors, Bread and Flowers, they've been with me for the last 18 months. They just opened their first brick and mortar. And the brick and mortar is so successful that I've now lost them as a vendor.
That's good. That's good and bad news. Yeah.
It's a bittersweet thing, right? And it's the growth you hope for, but that you don't wish for.
Yeah.
Because now I've lost them at my Thursday markets, but they have a beautiful new facility that because of the markets they were able to build.
Wow.
So, and then you have other women who maybe have a first career at real estate. She loves to bake. And so she makes the most beautiful French pastries you've ever seen. And she only brings that character out on a Thursday. And then she goes back to real estate, the other 6 days a week.
Wow.
So I love those stories where, these women kind of come out of their shell and something that makes them a little nervous and then they blow up. I had a charcuterie lady who is a dear friend of mine now, Jessica, and she was making charcuterie boards. And now she was literally in the market like 7 times and she blew up so much she couldn't come back to the market.
Wow. No way.
Yeah, I mean, I lose a food vendor, which stinks, but their business in their world blows up.
Yeah.
And you're so proud to be a part of it.
Okay, so you're not in Palm Springs You don't
Oh,
have
Palm Springs Valley is the Coachella Valley, and the
the Coachella
Coachella
Valley.
Valley has 9 cities in it. So
Nine
Palm
cities.
Springs, Cathedral City,
Right.
Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, Indian Wells, La
Yes.
Quinta, Indio. So it's a valley full of cities. When you say
Right,
Palm
right.
Springs, it's like calling Kleenex Kleenex, you know?
Right, because I was in Palm Springs a month ago, and
Okay.
there was a farmers market
Yeah.
or a street market going on.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called the Village Fest. That's
Okay.
more like, for example, these other markets, the Coachella, the Village Fest, or the College of the Desert, they allow resale. So in my
Okay.
market, everything that you buy is either grown by, produced by, or handmade by the person selling it to you.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
no resale allowed in my market.
No
So
resale.
College of the Desert, Village Fest, all of those, they could like buy a hat and put a logo on it and they give it to you. And
Oh,
we don't allow
interesting.
that.
Okay.
So everything is authentically
Authentic.
handmade, grown, or produced.
Yeah, that's
That's
great.
my criteria for allowing them into my market.
That's great. Let me ask you, do you have some vendors who are at one of your markets go to another market on another night? Is that the way
Sure,
that
all the
works?
time. All the
Okay.
time. So, for example, my friend Don from Don's Juice, he comes to my Thursday Indian Wells market, and he's in Thursday Village Fest.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
also in my second Saturday Indio concert on the second Saturday of every month. I have some vendors come to the Indio concert.
Concert.
Yeah,
Really?
so the Indio second Saturday Indio concert, they have this amazing program where they have a grant to bring in these amazing bands and have a free concert.
How
It's
cool.
on the second Saturday of every month in Indio. So
Okay.
I have my vendors go there and sell, and I've
Yes.
set them up there, and then they promote the farmers market the following morning.
Wow. That's so
Well,
cool.
Cross promotion.
Look, cross promotion. See, this is what I love about the whole Coachella Valley
love
area. Like, you guys have so much like going on, and even though you're a part of Riverside County, like, you know, you're in your own little space. You know.
It's our own little space out here. It's like we're on an island.
Yeah, it's like an island. So it's like, okay, if you want to go out to the festivals and all the great street vendors and things like that, you definitely want to hit up the Coachella Valley, which is cool. Cool.
People just think you're on 100% vacation all the time here, which is not true.
Really?
We actually do work here. We
Oh,
actually
really?
do.
Wait,
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys worked. I thought it was all
Oh, yeah, no,
festivals.
we actually have to work here. So
That's
it's
cool.
a destination for everyone else, but the people that live here, we still have to make a living.
Yeah, well, and the hospitality industry is so big over there, right?
It is. It is.
And
I
so-
worked for 21 years in the restaurants here.
In the
I've
restaurant.
been here
Okay.
22 years, so I'm excited
Nice.
to be doing something that I love now.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so tell us, if a person is trying to join your market, how do they get involved if they want to become a vendor?
So I only give out my phone number. My phone number is 951-551-6233.
You're okay with publishing it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't do applications. I don't want the extra paperwork. I hand pick every vendor. Honestly, I don't have many spots left. I'm pretty
Yes.
much full. I have, I think, 6 spots left in Indio, 1 spot in Rancho, and I'm full otherwise.
Wow.
So that's pretty good.
That's
I am
cool.
looking for a new location in the city of Palm Desert. We were working with a location for the last couple months, and it just fell through yesterday.
Yes.
So I
yeah.
have 42 vendors that need a home on Saturday.
Wow.
I've been looking for the last 18 months in the city of Palm Desert, and I can't find the right location, but
Okay. Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
It's very obvious that you're working at a scale. Okay, you're running several markets. Is there a possibility that you would want to scale this up bigger, you know, and like maybe run more markets like all over the Inland Empire? Like, and
I
have you thought
definitely
about
have-
that?
I definitely have been asked. I was just asked to run one in Topanga Canyon.
Oh wow.
The lot didn't really satisfy me, so I said no. But I am willing to look at locations as long as they have about 45,000, 25,000 minimum cars pass by per day. My ultimate goal is 45,000 cars a day.
Yes.
And I have the ability and the team to scale up.
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty good at the paperwork, which I didn't like before, but I'm getting like A pluses on my applications. So I'm pretty good and I'm willing to expand for sure.
All right. So I'm a little bit of a tech geek. You know, Startempire Wire is about startups, but we also deal with tech as well. So every time you say paperwork, I think automation. Every time. Like, I totally think that. Oh my God. Look at that. Oh Lord.
Hold on. This is just environmental health.
Oh my God.
And then the green file, of course, is for farmers.
Oh, wow.
So this had to all be scanned in perfectly, not miss a page.
Wow.
On Tuesday, and I got it all in. So, I mean, yes, I would love to not have to deal with the paperwork or a shitty scanner.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you're only dealing with the system that you're dealing with, whether they're archaic or prehistoric, or like one city out here won't even accept a credit card over the phone.
Really?
You have to go in and pay for it. So like,
wow.
You have to deal with the systems that are afforded to you, whether you like it or not.
So that was my question. Do you know of any software that helps with some of that paperwork that's around currently?
I do not. The only thing I use is my scanner and my email. I obviously have like a scanner app on my phone, but then I would have to do it page by page.
Page by page.
No.
No one's built those. I'm saying this may be an opportunity because we do have software developers and engineers who watch this show. This may be an opportunity for a software engineer to come in and say, "Hey, I'm going to help Christiana disrupt."
And I'm just one of thousands of people that are filing these same applications
over and over.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So this is an opportunity, software developers. If you're watching this, listening to this, there needs to be some disruption in the farmers market space. I see the paperwork and I'm like, that could be automated. That could be, created into software. So that's why I was asking you just to see if you knew it. But if not, then
no, I don't. But I constantly, obviously, it took me 60 some days to gather all of that paperwork from 85 different vendors.
Wow.
And then one day I had to put all of them together, and that took a whole weekend, obviously. And then scan them all in.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the paperwork is the most treacherous thing about running a farmer's market. The rest of it can be total joy. And the paperwork sends me into a brick wall.
I'm going to ask you some more questions, but we'll do it off the interview. We'll do it off record because I'm pretty sure some of that stuff can be automated. Next question though. All right. What are the current needs of your startup? What are the current needs of the Coachella Valley farmers markets?
Okay, so I recently have done a lot of research over the summer, and I have come up with an equation and data that states that only 12 to 17% of the population have ever even attended a farmer's market, which means that I have 83% of the population in a valley full of 500,000 people yearly, over 1 million during the holiday season, that don't come to farmers markets. So my number one goal is to get 83% of the people who have never been to a farmer's market, don't understand why it's important to get there. Yeah. They don't understand that the produce that they buy in a grocery store has been picked weeks prior, has been sitting there, has gone through transportation, mass distribution, and then waiting in a grocery store when you can literally get food that was picked the day before for you. And it tastes like a tomato is supposed to taste, like a cucumber, like arugula, like everything was literally picked the day, 24 hours for you. And you're still shopping in a grocery store. We have just recently got all of our farmers approved to accept EBT. And
that's huge.
So I have restored the dignity to shopping at a farmer's market
That's
with
awesome.
government assistance. Normally, at
Wow.
most markets, a person has to walk up to an information booth,
Mm-hmm.
get wood chips, and then shop with wood chips.
Really?
I didn't want to do that. That's humiliating. I've been
Yeah.
there. I've done it. I was one of those mothers 10, 13 years ago. So now I have all of my farmers approved with WIC, with EBT. They can take your card.
Yeah,
And you don't have to shop with wood chips and show that you're any different, shopping any differently than anyone else.
Yeah, you know what? That actually, I mean, that brings the farmers market to a level of competition with the regular supermarket too.
Correct. And it may cost a little more.
Yeah.
It will taste better. It's more nutritious. It will last longer.
Right. And what I love about the farmers markets is that, you know, you're not getting these mass produced,
Correct.
vegetables and fruit.
You're also getting options to vegetables that you would never see in a grocery store. And
Yeah.
you're only getting things that are seasonal to that region in the area that it's grown in. Everything comes within 150 miles of my location.
Within 150 miles.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
I actually had a vendor recently ask me if you could sell pink pineapples in a fruit cup. And I said, did you grow them? He said, no. And I said, then you can't sell it.
I love it. I love it.
Sell it.
You gotta grow it to sell it. That's it.
That's it.
That's a great thing. So people
Know
know
your farmer, know your food is our hashtag.
they know their. I love that. Know your farmer, know your food. And Christiana, I grew up in Texas. So yeah, I grew up on a farm, and a lot of my listeners may not know this. Maybe they do. I mean, I'm not ashamed of being a Texan.
Me either.
But we had our own cows. We had our own pigs. We had chickens. I fed the cows every day. Took out a big 80-pound bag of cottonseed feed. You know, I would let the cows out into the pasture. We have 12 acres of land, and we also slaughtered our own meat. My grandfather taught us that. My uncles, there were 7 boys that he had, and I had 7 uncles, and we all did that on a holiday. But we grew collard greens, we grew all of that stuff, and when I got older, moved away, I had the advantage and the benefit of knowing where my food came from. Some people don't know where their food comes from in the supermarket, right?
When I was 26 years old, I had a child. And
Yes.
by the time she started in kindergarten, when she was actually 4, I started asking her about food. And where does your food come from? And do you know it? And then I started volunteering in her school, and I would ask other kids, where does your food come from? And they would say, the refrigerator, the grocery store, or fast food window. These were the 3 answers I got all the time.
Wow.
So in 2007, I started a nonprofit called Green Acres Sustainable Living Farm. And I had this concept and intellectual property to teach kids where food comes from while being conscious of how to live off the land and animal welfare and all of this stuff. And
Yes.
we taught 500 to 700 kids a year, and they would come to the ranch and we would teach them. And we had these huge gardens, and we would have these farm to table dinners where we have a famous chef come, and the kids would pick all the food and carry it to the chef. And it was just like totally grassroots kind of. It's a kind of education that should be mandated in every school system.
Yes.
We're losing music and arts.
Yeah.
How can we mandate for this kind of stuff when we're basically whittling down the education system to nothing?
Yeah.
There's nothing extra ever afforded these days.
Right.
These are things. When I grew up in Oklahoma with my grandmother, she baked bread and grew food, vegetables, and made great jam. And she would trade that for chicken and eggs and other things that she didn't make. And they would all work together and kind of feed each other without ever the exchange of money.
Right.
And man, my grandmother could pick up a chicken and
cut it. Yeah.
just fling it.
Yeah.
And it was dead. And I was just like, oh my God. I could never do it. I had 24 chickens, and I used to think about that all the time. I would just think if I could walk up to one and go.
I'm going to tell you, it is because it's it's just such a different mindset today. People, they're not as connected to the land, you know.
True.
We live in cities or suburban neighborhoods where we don't see this. We go buy our bacon in plastic.
Grocery
We,
store.
we used to cook. We used to slaughter our bacon, and it was. Let me tell you, it's a
And
process
it
of.
tasted different.
It tastes different. Yes, way better.
Way better.
Well, let me just say it was a process of gratitude because we didn't just waste anything. Like we were grateful.
Appreciation.
Yeah, we were grateful for that hog that gave its life. and and we used every part. We
Yeah.
you know we created sausage, we created the bacon, we gave huge slabs of meat to
They're like
neighbors.
660 pounds when they go to slaughter. So
Yeah.
you have a lot. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
totally get it.
And so this is I love farmers markets, and I love going to the farmers markets nearby, and so I love your business that you're doing.
I have a guy named
yes.
Patterson Farms from Hemet, so it's not
Okay.
the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
They have a small micro farm. He
Ooh.
literally raises all the chickens organic. He has an organic certification, which I think he'll let go soon because it's like $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
But he still won't change his practices. He'll probably
Right.
but he literally, because his farm is so small, he does not have to ship his chickens to a USDA facility.
Oh.
Now, most people, if they slaughter so many chickens a year, now those chickens have to get on a trailer and go to a USDA facility, and they have to be butchered there. The
Yes.
cortisol and the scared hormones start getting
The
second-
cortisol. Yes.
Cortisol.
Yes.
Okay, so Craig Patterson raises the chickens on his farm, butchers the chickens on his farm, preps them, and does it the day before the market. You've never had fresher
Wow.
organic chicken in your life.
Wait, he sells the chicken at which market?
Indian Wells on
Okay.
Thursdays
Okay.
and La Quinta on Sundays right
La
now.
Quinta on Sundays. I'm gonna have to drop by and get some chicken. Honestly,
Patterson chicken is the best chicken you've ever
Yeah.
had in your life. And then we have like cheese that literally comes from the happy cows in Northern California. They
Oh
own the farm.
yes.
They make the cheese. We have local honey. We have all kinds of
Well,
really amazing products you could never get in a grocery store.
the honey, it does it for me. Like, I'm just gonna say that. Like every like if I don't get anything from a farmer's market, when I go to the farmer's market, I'm going to get honey. Like
Yes. And so
every time.
most farmers markets have honey that buy from producers. We actually have the farmer, Blissful Bees, the person that farms the combs and mines the hives and all of that. He is the person selling you the honey. So it's
so
literally from the farmer to you, no middleman involved.
that's great. Yeah, no.
I don't allow any middlemen.
Well, I would say the one. Well, I'm not going to mention the name of it. There's one local that I know they do their own honey, and
Good.
then there's another another city over. I'm not going to say the name of the city, but I know they have a middleman. So
Yeah. So it's really important to get it from the farmer.
Yes, it is,
And, like, I'm constantly sharing all of their like videos when they're out there mining the hives and doing
it's-
stuff, so people
it's so
can actually
cool.
see there's Leo
Yes.
doing it, and there's Leo at the table selling you honey.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is great. All right, so tell me at this point, what are your current needs for your farmers markets to grow, get to the next level? What are those needs?
I really need to focus on that 80% of people who've never been to the farmers markets.
Yes.
I'd love to tell you that I have a whole need of vendors. Like, for example, I still need beef jerky. Beef jerky is really hard to come by.
Beef jerky. Yes.
But there's not a lot of vendors that I'm searching out. And right now, what I'm looking for is to be able to tap into the person that's never been to the farmers market. And
Yes.
why haven't you been? It's one of the funnest events of the week, and it's being part of your community, not only socially, but economically.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's getting access to stuff that you never knew you could have at your fingertips for really not that much greater of an exchange than you would at a grocery store. And
Right.
there is a gratitude that comes with using stuff
Yes.
from people that you know. For example, every day when I shower, I use a certain soap made by a person that I know. And
Yeah.
every day I use my honey. And I am so grateful when I'm using a product of a vendor I know, more so than I would be from something that I bought it from someone I don't know.
Industrial, from an
Yeah.
industrialized. Yeah, I know it's
So
really.
it just creates this level of gratefulness.
Yeah, it is. No, that's great because I think that connection, that real life connection, adds an extra level of gratitude in there as well.
And we all need more of that.
Yes, we all need more gratitude every day. All right, so outside of those, getting those new customers in the next 2 months, what would you say are your short-term, two short-term goals?
Number one goal is to find a home for the Saturday Palm Desert Farmers Market. We were previously working and hoping to be at the gardens on El Paseo, and I just found out yesterday that's not going to happen. So I have a home. I need a home for 42 vendors that are on my list waiting to open up, hopefully in October, which won't happen now. But my next 2 months is focused on finding a home for the Palm Desert Market.
Okay.
Other than that, my goal in the next month, I mean, we open in less than 30 days, and I am just focused on having a very smooth transition and opening all of the markets in a wonderful way and making sure my maps actually translate to the square footage on the ground that I've measured 1,000,000 times.
Ooh, that's a big one too.
It's nerve-wracking until you see it happen. So, for example, we moved the Rancho Mirage farmers market from the river to the Rancho Mirage Community Park. We got a 15 to 20-year contract with the city.
Yes.
So that's a brand new map, and that makes me nervous because it's brand new.
Right.
And then and then our old location at Indian Wells, the grocery store Sprouts rented our location, so we got kicked out. So now we're moving to a church, and now I have to remap it on a parking lot, and then in November in grass. So the most stressful part is you hope what you draw on a grid paper actually turns out to fit everyone.
Yes.
With enough personal space to not piss anyone off.
Well, and then if you come the day of opening and things are a little bit off, you just adjust, huh?
We just adjust. Okay. The same thing I do every morning, because you're always going to have about 10% of your vendors not show up. So in my markets, you have to be there on the fly so that we can rearrange the map, because I don't want gaping open spaces if people are missing. Right. I want to move people around so no one notices that anyone is gone.
Okay.
So we change on the fly every morning.
Nice. Okay.
Every morning when I wake up for a market, I'm like, who texted me while I was asleep saying they weren't coming?
All right.
I'm like, okay. Now I got to change the map.
Yeah. Wow. So now we're going to hit 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year. In the next 3 years, what do you see? And then the next 5 years, where do you see the farmers markets going? And then in the next 10 years, where do you see the farmers markets going?
So honestly, we just want to continue to target the audience that has never been to the farmer market, and that will be our next 3-year goal. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, in all the positions where I'm currently at, I have the option to stay 15 to 20 years, so I don't have to worry.
20. Yes.
For a while, I was kind of having an issue finding long-term homes. For example, Rancho Mirage, this will be our 3rd and final move.
Nice.
But we'll be 15 years. And Indian Wells had to move, and after they're happy after their first year, we'll be there for 15 years. So my goal is to have long-term homes, because you can't build a farmer's market and keep moving it around. It has to be produced. So for example, the Old Town La Quinta market, it's been there for 10 years, and I will probably be running it for at least the next 15.
Yes.
And then when this is all over and I decide to retire, my daughter is my business partner and co-owner. She's currently almost 19 years old. She's been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years.
That's awesome.
So she'll take over. My daughter will take over.
That's so great. That's great. Yeah. All right. Well, Christiana, I really appreciate your time on this interview. Where can people find information about you, about the farmers markets on the internet? And, and then, when the days come, where they need to go to actually be a part of it?
Our website will be up and running soon. It's cvcfm.org. It'll be launched in a matter of days. On Instagram, you'll find us at every city plus the initial CFM. So, for example, CFM. Indian Wells CFM for Certified Farmers Market, Rancho Mirage CFM, Palm Desert CFM, Indio CFM, and Old Town La Quinta CFM. Yes. So those are all of our Instagram pages. And again, everyone can give me a call, 951-551-6233. I know you think I shouldn't give my number out.
I'm just like, well, hey.
I get calls all the time. Like, it's okay.
Awesome.
And then, everyone, just if you contact me to be a vendor, don't be mad if I say no. I don't have many spots left.
Awesome. All right. Is there anything else you would like to add? Any specials, promotions, anything that you want to add to what we just talked about overall?
Get your butt to a farmer's market. It's the place to be.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first on the Founders Podcast. We have Christiana Green. Thank you, Christiana, for joining us on this podcast today.
Thank you.
And if you guys are looking for a great farmers market, get out to the Coachella Valley Certified Farmers Markets. One of them, on one of the days.
I have 5.
Yes, 5. Yes. So get out there, support the local vendors. Get some real food that's not like contaminated by, other grocery stuff. And fresh. It's fresh.
And we have 3 of them. We have free yoga for the community.
No way.
Garage, Indian Wells, Indio, free yoga at 10 a.m. every morning.
Free yoga?
We have hot food vendors. We have music every day. We have everything you could need.
Yeah, so
have a great time.
Get on out there and, thank you again for tuning into the podcast. Remember, we publish this podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And when we put it out, we want you to share it with at least 3 or 4 people, maybe 5. Like the video, click the bell, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, thanks for joining us on the Founders Podcast. Peace.